Hello. I am Jen Wilson, the Healing Rebel, and welcome to this week's podcast. It's so lovely to have you here with me. Welcome if you're a new listener, and welcome back if you're a returning guest. And today I wanted to talk about energy and the energy we have. Now, this is not about the esoteric energy that we maybe talk about when we're thinking about Reiki. This is about how much energy do you have to get through your day and do the tasks that you want to do. It's something that I've been really interested in, particularly over the last couple of years, because I have experienced a lot of fatigue. And recently, as I've started to get better, trying to work out how to not boom and bust. So you might be familiar with boom and bust, particularly if you live with a health condition. You start to feel better, so you do all the things that you've missed out on doing when you've not been well, but you do too many and then bust. You are flat on your back, done in 4 days. And we can live in that cycle, and sometimes it's not a cycle, it's a spiral. Like, you have loads of energy, you do loads of stuff, you're out, and then you come back and you do lots of stuff, but you didn't actually manage to do as much stuff as you'd done before. And then you're out, but you're out for a wee bit longer than you were the last time. And then that spirals down until you can barely get out of bed without having to lie down for the rest of the day just to recover. And people, those of us that deal with chronic fatigue, might be quite familiar with that cycle and how it can get progressively worse. And the thing that I have been exploring and trying to get better understanding of is when we move our bodies and when we're around certain people, we can be energized. And then in other instances, we can do things. We can do certain exercises, or be around certain people, or do certain activities, and we feel absolutely wiped out and drained. And that's where boundaries, when we start to identify these things, are really important. How do you limit your exposure to the things that drain you? How do you maximize your exposure to the things that fill you up without spiraling into that boom and bust? My most recent example of this is in July of 2023, myself and my friend Tracy Lee, who's been on this podcast before as a guest, we took a group of women to Conic Hill. We didn't climb the whole hill, we climbed a part of the walkway up to the hill, and we did some yoga on the hill, and then we came back down and went for a swim at Balmaha in Loch Lomond, which was lovely, and the group of women were fantastic. And that was the first day in a long time that I had felt energised, that I'd really done stuff and gone, oh, I feel so much better for that. Really, really felt energised. And the next morning, I still had energy, like that recharge was still there. But then I did a series of things in really quick succession in the morning, and I was doing them in a stressed state, because I want to get all these things done and because I feel energetic. And by lunchtime, I was in my bed. I was just like, wow, the plug had been pulled out of me, my batteries had gone completely flat, and there was nothing in the tank. I was just like, couldn't even read a book, couldn't even watch anything on Netflix. It was just done. And I was like that for almost 10 days, like just so wiped out. I'd sleep and I'd wake up and I'd like still feel flat as a tack. Oh, this is nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. And then around day 10, I had barely been out of the house. 2 seconds. Living in my magnesium. I needed it, so fantastic. Where was I? Yeah, so I hadn't been out the house in 10 days. And I really realised I needed to get out. I needed to do something. I needed fresh air. I needed energy. And one of the local stand-up paddle board companies that I am friendly with, I'm going to be doing an event with in September. They have a weekly social group that goes out on a Wednesday evening close by at the canal, and it's low effort, we'll say. You go at your own pace, there's no expectations. It's really, really nice group. People are lovely. So I went along to that. I thought, just need to try. I need to get out of the house. I need to try. I've got an electric pump to blow my board up. I can get the board onto the water, and then once I'm on the water, for me, it's physically easy. It's not energetically draining. It's definitely, for me, recharging, being on the water, being around the greenery, having casual conversations with people. Not small talk. I'm not good at small talk at all, but casual conversations that weren't people feeding off my energy, weren't people looking for information, which I love doing and can get totally overexcited and share too much sometimes when people ask, what could I do for this skin problem? And I'm like, a million different ideas, and I get super excited by it. So it's not that kind of energy, because I'm not there to help people with that stuff. It's just general chit chat, really nice, really laid back. And I felt so much better after that hour of being out. Felt recharged. And what I wondered on reflection was the fatigue was real on those first few days, but because I wasn't moving, I then became lethargic. And to get over lethargy, we need to move our bodies. To get over fatigue, we need to rest our bodies. And learning what is fatigue and what is lethargy is something only you can do. It's only you can make that decision of what it is. And the easiest way to do is to do a small task and see how you feel. Because living in this boom and bust is exhausting, and it's frustrating, and it's disheartening. Things that I do to help when I'm in fatigue, when I can't move, and it's difficult when you don't have the energy to go and cook for yourself. And I can't remember where Chris was. I think Chris had gone to Poland, so I was here by myself. So I was having to order takeaways to be delivered to the house because there was nobody here to cook for me, which isn't ideal, but it was that or crisps for breakfast, lunch or dinner, and that wasn't going to make me feel any better. So making sure that I was getting as healthy options as possible. Thankfully, there's a delicious Thai place in the Indian, make really amazing vegetable-filled dishes that I was able to consume to help nourish me. I was also able to make the herbal infusions that I take now. I don't think I've done a podcast on this yet. The herbal infusions that I use, I rotate between nettle, comfrey, oat straw, and sometimes red clover. I don't always have red clover in. So I rotate between them. And what the purpose of these herbal infusions is to flood your body with nutrients, vitamins and minerals. They're really, really densely packed with vitamins and minerals, essential for thriving in life. And since I started doing these herbal infusions back in March, I have noticed improvements in Crohn's disease. I have noticed improvements in my menstrual cycle. I have noticed improvements in my mood and energy. When I was on holiday for 5 days, I didn't take all the stuff that I needed, because 30 grams of herb into a litre of water, and it needs to be boiled water in a glass jar that you leave for 4 to 10 hours to infuse. So when you're camping, that's just impractical, because you need to drain all that stuff off and into another bottle, and too many bits of kit that's not practical for being in a tent. So for those 5 days, I didn't have those nutrients. By day 4 of my camping, I had fatigue. Day 5 on camping, I was still a bit, this is not good. But when I came back, I knew what was wrong because I hadn't been taking those herbal infusions, started consuming them, felt better. Not immediately, but over a few days. So definitely flooding your body with nutrients, food, and the fluids that you're consuming to help re-nourish you, and looking into things that support your nervous system, because what I believe, there's a lot that they don't know, that the medical world don't know about fatigue, but from my own personal experience, it very much feels like a nervous system malfunction for me, that the hormones in my nervous system are not dancing with each other in the way that I would like them to, and I'm getting too much of one and not enough of another. Now, I know because I've done a cortisol saliva test over a 24-hour window, I know that for a while, and I haven't had it done recently just due to cost. It's not hugely expensive, but it's £100, and if you don't have £100, you don't have £100. When I did that test, my cortisol was too low, even though I felt anxious. So all the things I was doing to bring my cortisol down were working, but there was still other hormones being released that were making me feel anxious. There was possibly still too much adrenaline, or there wasn't enough cortisol coming in to balance out the adrenaline, and there's other hormones that get released as well, that these all dance together, that they uplift you, they downregulate you, they cause inflammation, they reduce inflammation. It's this beautiful dance of all these hormones, but if they're out of sync, then you experience symptoms, and those symptoms are different. And there's a big assumption that if you're experiencing feelings of anxiety, therefore your cortisol levels must be too high. And for me, it was the opposite. My cortisol levels were too low, so I was waking up feeling like I was having palpitations and really anxious, and then going and doing things like meditation and some sound stuff, and it was making me feel worse. And that's why I did the cortisol test. So if you're experiencing stuff and what you're doing isn't working, if you can, get some tests done to try and work that out. Because when we can have this beautiful dance going on inside our hormonal system, so that everything's flowing as it's meant to flow, then we don't have the symptoms that we experience. Because there's nothing to experience, because things are not out of sync. And I think that that's really important for your energy levels. You know, people talk about the runner's high, that they go for a run and it's quite exerting and then they feel buzzing after it. That's because they've done stuff to nourish their nervous system. They've kick-started that energy cycle of being able to tap in and to access your energy. And I am somebody who is always saying, we need to rest more, we need to rest more, we need to rest more. We do need to rest more from the stressful situations that are draining us. What we need to be doing is resting in the places that nourish us. And sometimes that's lying in bed, sometimes that's lying on the sofa, sometimes it's lying on a beach, sometimes it's going for a walk in nature. But it has to be what makes you feel nourished. What makes me feel nourished, going out on my paddleboard, being in nature, going for a hill walk, that's mine. That's what makes me feel good. That might not be what makes you feel good. So you have to listen to your body so that you can respond to what your body needs in that moment. But being really conscious for people who do suffer with fatigue, being really conscious of when is it fatigue, when is it lethargy, because lethargy can be solved or resolved with a bit of movement. Fatigue, not so much. I would say it definitely needs much more nourishment before we can add in any movement. And that's my thoughts and opinions on that. I would love to know your experiences, what you're thinking about this, what questions you might have around this. Drop them in the comments of where you're watching this, or send me an email, jen@iamjenwilson.com. And let's have a conversation, let's have a chat. What are the things that you do to help you recover from fatigue? What are the things you nourish yourself with? How do you get through that? living with chronic health condition is a roller coaster. And sometimes things just don't make sense. I've been told that my inflammation markers are all in the normal range. They're all right down, real low, but there's still stuff going on in my body that's not right. And I have questions and I'm not getting answers from the medical establishment. So I need to then ask myself the questions. What is it that I need? Not some external thing. Not that some doctor's not going to come and be the saviour. Sometimes they are the saviour, but sometimes they're not. They can't be because they just don't know. They don't have availability of the tests. They don't have availability of that part of knowledge. They're there to help us when we have heart attacks and break our legs in acute situations. So yeah, share your wisdom, and I can share that on future podcasts. If you've got any questions, please do put them in and I will get to them. And otherwise, I'm going to have what I'm going to do going forward for the podcast, I've decided, is once a month I'm going to have somebody on sharing their journey. So I've got a podcast scheduled in to record on Saturday morning with a girl called Leanne, who is going to talk about her journey with rheumatoid arthritis, which I'm going to be very interested in. When I said to her about, oh yeah, that's great, because I talk about having Crohn's and having endometriosis. There's a lot of similarities between rheumatoid arthritis and Crohn's and colitis because it's chronic inflammation. And she said that, well, her mum and I think her sister both have ulcerative colitis, so there is a lot of crossover there. Inflammation is inflammation. How it presents in your body is going to be unique to you. So we are looking at how do we drive down excess chronic inflammation. And the things that I'm talking about today are all relevant, that nourishing your body with all the vitamins and minerals so that all the systems in your body work right. If your immune system's underperforming, we need it to bring it up. If it's overperforming, we need to bring it down. And sometimes it's the same deficiency. It might be a mineral deficiency, it might be a vitamin D deficiency. And when you balance that out and get that right, that then helps the body regulate back into whatever the normal, if there is such a thing, back into normal. So yeah, I want to share some journeys as well, but I'm not going to put pressure on myself having a weekly guest because that is a lot of work. So yeah, fab. Right, I'm going to sign off because I have been just chatting enough here. Get your messages in, share this with anybody that this might benefit, whether it's from an information point or if they've got questions that they want to have a chat about. Make sure that you're sharing it. If whatever platform you're watching this on, make sure that you follow, you subscribe, whatever it is that you need to do so that you don't miss any future episodes. If you can give a review, leave a review. All of these things help me as this tiny one woman show grow. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to inspire people. I want to support people on their healing journey. So anything I can do to help, please do help me by sharing these videos or podcasts, wherever you're sourcing your information. But otherwise, I will see you on the next episode.